Hi, it's me, the Wandering Hermit again, and today I decided to take another little walk back through the woods to the hollow where I took you on the last outing, just to see if anything's changed, see if there's been any shift in energy or anything like that. So I'm taking a slightly different route today. I'm not going over the top of the plateau, which is up there through the wood, through the trees there, through the bushes. I am taking the low road next to this lovely old stone wall here. And I try to... Cool. There. It's a rather interesting tree. Loads of weird crooked trees like that around here. It kind of reminds me of the hanged man in the tarot, with his leg bent up here behind his outstretched leg. Yeah. Anyway. Also, looks a bit runish. Anyway, taking the low road because the low road has two other carvings on there. Now, I showed you the horse last time. There are two others. There's the dog and what is commonly believed to be a depiction of a sun or moon goddess. So I endeavour to show you both of those, and then we'll get back to that hollow and see what's going on there. Okay, so I've just passed the observatory on the low road, and here we are. That is the dog. Yeah, again, it's quite distinct in the rock. Now, this was all that could be seen at one point, because the rest was all covered with foliage and moss and such things. And here is a new addition that's been uncovered by the local trusts. This appears to be a stag, as you can see, probably somewhere. Hold on. Up here there are antlers spreading up towards the edge of the plant life there. There's the nose, the eye, its feet here. Now, the fact that the stag and the dog are carved facing each other in running postures would suggest that this was from a time when dogs were being domesticated to hunt. That's just my own observation, not necessarily the truth, but it's an interesting carving. As I say, all that could be seen at one point was the dog and just the hoof of the stag, but the rest has been uncovered, thankfully. Now, further down the path here we have another carving, which I will show you in just a moment. Now, this is the fabled moon goddess. Now, you see here they've got outstretched arms with a pretty ghostly looking face in there. There's not much left of this one, unfortunately. And then at its feet we see a crescent moon with rays emanating out from her feet. Now, there were other details which were more distinct many years ago, but almost impossible to make them out now. It used to have flowing hair which used to come around it. Now, the different carvings in this area suggest that there were a number of different cults, tribes that had different religious beliefs that convened here from different directions. On the other side of the hill, there's a similar carving to this one of a similar figure, but with a sun, like a halo coming out the top of its head, and we realise it's the sun god. Obviously, the carving of the horse, the one of the stag, there are many other carvings. There's one of a cat around here somewhere. All of this suggests to me that this was a meeting place for different cultures, for different tribes of different beliefs, almost like a primitive pantheon, where each group would come to worship their own gods. Now you have one group that would revere the moon, one that would revere the sun, one that would revere horses or cows, others that revere cats, like the Egyptians. Either that, or this was an extremely diverse and, well, spiritually developed culture. A single culture that revered both the sun and the moon, as well as held certain animals in high regard, maybe as totem animals. But either way, that is the moon goddess. Okay, so I'm currently stood in the middle of what is commonly referred to as the Witch's Circle. Now it's very, very overgrown now, just let me show you. All overgrown with gorse bushes and ferns all the way around here. Over there's the city of Liverpool. You can see very overgrown. And what I'm actually standing on is a stone outcrop. Let me just show you here. Oh, it's quite deep, because all around here is sort of boggy pools. Now this stone outcrop is what constitutes the Witch's Circle. As you can see in the middle here, we've got old tree stump, charred, blackened. People often come up here to perform some ill-conceived version of witchcraft, thinking they're being rebels and whatnot. It's quite a sad state of affairs, really. But legend tells, I don't know where this legend comes from, but a local legend says that if a woman was accused of witchcraft, she'd be brought here by the townsfolk, tied to a tree, and forced to confess to her crimes, whilst either being set on fire or being stuck, like nailed to the tree. If she didn't confess, then she died tied to the tree. If she confessed, she would be untied, taken up to the top of the hill, and then hanged. Now, it's obviously some kind of superstitious folktale, but there are stories that the spirits of the witches remained, and because they blamed the men of the town for their demise and their ignorance of what they were practicing, they cursed the land so that any man who ventured into the Witch's Circle would come to a horrible and painful death. Now, there have been a number of mysterious deaths over the centuries, which some people have attributed to the witch's curse, but it's a little bit fanciful for my liking. Of all the people that come here, only a handful of them have died under horrible circumstances. So, I don't think we've got anything to fear, but still an interesting story. Just another example of how rich the history of this place is. And now we're getting pretty close to the Dark Hollow, so I'll update you then. Okay, so here we are, back in the Dark Hollow. Now, you see here there's an old monolith. It's been here since, well, before the 1700s, but it was used as a waymarker. But presumably it stood here for a very, very long time. There's something I forgot to point out last time, it was getting pretty dark. Now, as we venture back through here, I can already feel that the energy is lighter. You say, even though it's about the same time of day as it was last time, and again it's cloudy, it has been raining today, you'll see that it is considerably brighter in here than it was last time. I don't feel threatened here now. It actually feels rather serene. And here's something that is different. The stones, the masonry that was in here has been upturned. Now, usually, if this was done by thugs, there would be other signs of vandalism. There'd be beer cans everywhere, there'd be food wrappers everywhere, but suddenly I find this place is pretty spotless for the most part. So this is very, very unusual. Why would the stones be upturned and arranged in such a way as to almost look like a stone circle? This is something I'm going to have to think about. Maybe I need to use these stones. Maybe these have been gifted to me. Perhaps that's my next task in honour of the land, just to build a cairn or a stone circle. Now, back where I did the original offering was on this stone here. And as you can see, despite the wind and the rain, the dragon's blood incense stick that I used here is still there after 3 or 4 days. Well, that is interesting. But this place does feel considerably more pleasant. This is good. This makes me happy, because this shows to me that the work that I've begun here is already having a positive effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off for now, and then I'm going to think long and hard about how I am going to move these somewhat massive, heavy blocks. So until then, I hope you all have a good day or a good evening wherever you are in the world, and may the gods be with you.